Want to know if your Korean skills are improving and what your real learning level is? Get your language skills assessed with our free level assessment test. Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get assessed.
Let's review the key words.
우유,
Milk,
우유, 우유. 사과,
apple,
사과, 사과. 후추,
pepper,
후추, 후추. 설탕,
sugar,
설탕, 설탕. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say salt? 소금, 소금. And how to say excuse me? 저기요, 저기요. Do you remember how Sasha Morris asks, "Excuse me, do you have any salt?"
저기요, 소금 있어요?
저기요, 소금 있어요? Do you remember how to say yes? 네, 네. And how to say here? 여기, 여기. Do you remember how the clerk says, "Yes, it's here"?
네, 여기 있어요.
네, 여기 있어요. Do you remember how to say apple? 사과, 사과. And how to say sugar? 설탕, 설탕. Do you remember how to say milk? 우유, 우유.
Let's review the key words.
커피,
Coffee,
커피, 커피. 케이크,
cake,
케이크, 케이크. 딸기,
strawberry,
딸기, 딸기. 그거,
that,
그거, 그거. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say how much? 얼마, 얼마. And how to say this? 이거, 이거. Do you remember how Ben Morris asks, "How much is this?"
이거 얼마예요?
이거 얼마예요? Do you remember how to say one, one, one. And how to say 100? 백, 백. Do you remember how to say 500? 500, 500. And how to say 1,500? 1,500, 1,500. Do you remember how the clerk says it's 1,501?
1,500원입니다.
1,500원입니다. Do you remember how to say coffee? 커피, 커피. And how to say strawberry? 딸기, 딸기. Do you remember how to say that? 그거, 그거.
Let's review the new words.
메뉴,
Menu,
메뉴, 메뉴. 이거,
this,
이거, 이거. 계산서,
check,
계산서, 계산서. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say excuse me? 저기요. 저기요. And how to say water? 물, 물. Do you remember how Mark Morris says, "Excuse me, water please"?
저기요, 물 주세요.
저기요, 물 주세요. Do you remember how to say okay? 네, 네. Do you remember how the waiter says, okay, understood?
네, 알겠습니다.
네, 알겠습니다. Do you remember how to say check? 계산서, 계산서. And how to say menu? menu, menu. Do you remember how to say this? 이거, 이거.
Let's review the new words.
3,
3,
3, 3. 4,
4,
4, 4. 1,
1,
1, 1. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say please? 주세요. 주세요. And the counter for serving? 인분. 인분. Do you remember how to say this? 이거. 이거. Do you remember how Karen Morris says, 2 of these, please?
이거 2인분 주세요.
이거 2인분 주세요. Do you remember how to say to order? 주문하다. 주문하다. Do you remember how the waiter says, "Are you ready to order?"
주문하시겠어요?
주문하시겠어요? Do you remember how to say 1 in Sino-Korean numbers? 1 1 And how to say 3? 3 3 And how to say 4? 4 4 Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say .com? .com .com And how to say inolang.com? 이노랭.com 이노랭.com Do you remember how to say @? 골뱅이 골뱅이 And how to spell Karen? K-A-R-E-N K-A-R-E-N Do you remember how to say email address? 이메일 주소 이메일 주소 And how to say my email address? 제 이메일 주소 제 이메일 주소 Do you remember how to say as for my email address? 제 이메일 주소는 제 이메일 주소는 Do you remember how Karen says my email address is inolang.com.
제 이메일 주소는 karen @ inolang.com이에요.
제 이메일 주소는 karen@inolang.com이에요. Do you remember the polite phrase meaning what is it? 어떻게 되세요? 어떻게 되세요? Do you remember how the clerk says, "What's your email address?"
이메일 주소가 어떻게 되세요?
이메일 주소가 어떻게 되세요?
Let's review the new words.
영국인,
British person,
영국인, 영국인. 호주인,
Australian person,
호주인, 호주인. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say Korea? 한국, 한국. And how to say Korean, as in a Korean person? 한국인, 한국인. Do you remember how to say I? 저, 저. And how to say as for me? 저는, 저는. Do you remember how to say yes? 네, 네. Do you remember how Miss Ju says, "Yes, I'm Korean"?
네, 저는 한국인이에요.
네, 저는 한국인이에요. Do you remember how Miss Yu asks, "Are you Korean?"
한국인이에요?
한국인이에요? Do you remember how to say American, as in a person from the United States of America? 미국인, 미국인. And how to say British, as in a British person? 영국인, 영국인. Do you remember how to say Australian, as in an Australian person? 호주인, 호주인. And how to say no? 아니요, 아니요.
Let's review the new words.
야구,
Baseball,
야구, 야구. 여행,
traveling,
여행, 여행. 수영,
swimming,
수영, 수영. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say fishing? 낚시, 낚시. And how to say hobby? 취미, 취미. Do you remember how to say my hobby? 제 취미, 제 취미. And how to say as for my hobby? 제 취미는, 제 취미는. Do you remember how Noah Yu says, my hobby is fishing?
제 취미는 낚시예요.
제 취미는 낚시예요. Do you remember how to say what? 뭐, 뭐. Do you remember the subject marking particle that follows words ending in vowels? 가, 가. Do you remember how 도준조 asks, what's your hobby?
취미가 뭐예요?
취미가 뭐예요? Do you remember how to say baseball? 야구, 야구. And how to say traveling? 여행, 여행. Do you remember how to say swimming? 수영, 수영.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can Do course.